So Nia DaCosta, one of the worst directors of all time, at least over at Disney/Marvel Studios. I really do believe that because of what she said and how she points the fingers at the fandom as being a minority and those that are very much loud, opinionated, and specifically holding biased opinions about their view about the Marvel Cinematic Universe being the main reason as to why the Marvels is failing at the box office. And she takes no blame. She really does not own up to her own mistakes. We all know that there was a lot of drama that happened behind the scenes with herself as a director in the later half of the Marvels. A lot of things were going on between herself and the Disney heads, and along with Kevin Feige. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, the thing about Nia DaCosta is that this is a specific director that was handpicked by Kevin Feige. This is a director that was also handpicked by Bob Iger, specifically approved. Alright, we know that Bob Iger is all about throwing in these directors, these writers, producers, it doesn't matter who they are, as long as they support DEI to its fullest. Now, what's interesting about this is that we know that Bob Iger has been going through endless damage control behind the scenes for the Marvel's box office collapse and how much of a domino effect this movie is really having on the MCU. There really is superhero movie fatigue. It's a real thing, not just because of superhero movies alone in nature, but how Disney is mismanaging them, and they are mishandling them entirely. You know, we know that there are ways going about doing this successfully, but Disney refuses to even embrace that. Now, what's interesting though, on top of that, with the Marvels still dealing with its box office disaster, those like Brie Larson, Nia DaCosta, and Kevin Feige have been heading into endless damage control. However, recently Bob Iger made the ultimate decision to fire Nia DaCosta as part of damage control for the MCU. Some crucial updates to this ongoing drama recently got serious for the director. As it turns out, the reason why Nia DaCosta got fired after the Marvel's box office collapse was strictly connected to Bob Iger making this call in a recent emergency meeting for the future of Marvel that was held between Iger, the board, and those at Marvel Studios. As it turns out, Nia DaCosta was chosen to return for at least 2 other Marvel movies that would be connected to Blade 2025. Now, these were going to be her 2 big film opportunities for directing. This was recently dropped just ahead of Disney preparing to make some new announcements about their roadmap by this spring. Now, Nia DaCosta was also locked in for over 5 directing gigs for Disney Plus TV shows, specifically for Marvel, that was going to involve a show connected to Wakanda, along with a new show that's going to be connected to Daredevil Born Again, as part of the next roadmap announcement coming in 2024. Others of which she was actually filed in for involved brand new TV shows for Marvel that were going to be on their own, either animated and or in live action, that would be new announcements at large. The biggest one of all that Nia was dropped from was a spin-off series to Ironheart that Bob Iger recently approved via Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige that would serve as a way to expand that storyline for its core characters. Now, Nia was set to direct all episodes for that untitled series that is set to receive an announcement also by this spring of 2024, most likely during one of Disney's earnings calls for that year. Now, guys, let me just say one thing about this. Now, we can see that I feel Disney's kind of oversaturating the MCU. Alright, I've said this before in the past about Star Wars, and I'll say it now about Marvel. I feel like that what they need to do, they really need to space out their projects when it comes to movies and TV shows and focus more on quality-driven stories and kind of just see what the fans are asking for and make that possible. Nobody here was ever asking for the Marvels to be done in this way, at least. Nobody here was asking for, things like Ironheart and stuff around those lines. That's just not going to work well. We even see how a lot of fans are already opposed to Anthony Mackie, alright, portraying the role of Captain America. Now look, I like Mackie, I think he's a great actor and all, but I think at the same exact time, they really should stick with Chris playing that role. If he can't play that role, then move on to Bucky. I think that's how it should have been done, to be honest, to kind of fit in with the comics, but whatever have you. What's interesting about Nia, though, is that she is having a lot of problems with Disney's decision behind closed doors. We talked about this a couple of days ago, and it's just creating more unnecessary drama. This is why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going through quite a dramatic time, because of Bob Iger's, number one, cost containment plan wreaking havoc on all these projects, with budgeting limitations and a tighter crew and cast, along with really kind of becoming more cheap on the overall strategies going into making these movies. So what's interesting about this further, alright, on top of that, Bob Iger is also planning to make a direct statement on his decision of parting ways from Nia DaCosta as a director after the failure of the Marvels. To make matters worse, Nia was given a directing opportunity for a new untitled animated project that is considered to be a major announcement by 2024 and to be released sometime by 2026 on Disney+. Now, this is a project that she was also let go from and fired by Disney, and directly, of course, from Bob Iger, pushing to make the call on Kevin Feige to move forward with that decision. As it turns out, Feige was deeply opposed to firing DaCosta from the Marvel roadmap of TV shows and film as a director. Since initially Feige wanted to work with her on several new projects, for now, Iger is already demanding Marvel Studios to rework their roadmap for the Marvel Universe to make it more appealing and attractive to the shareholders and the general public as well. So again, guys, what I have to say about Bob Iger, I'm not defending him at all in the least, but he at least made one logical decision, was by dropping Nia DaCosta. We don't need another director in Hollywood pointing the finger at the fandom that supports this franchise through and through, or at least once did, and really pointing the finger at that fandom, saying that they are the minority, they are biased when it comes to their opinions, and how they are in the wrong, and that they are the cause of why the Marvels is failing. Well, actually, it's because you aim this movie toward women, and women in the majority did not end up seeing this film. That's the real problem as to why this movie's just not working. Let alone, it's also a aimless story with terrible writing and directing, in my opinion. That's just my take on things, but overall, Nia DaCosta, very bad director for the MCU. I'm glad that she got phased out of all these projects. Don't be too surprised if some of them will be canceled because of her getting phased out. I will not be shocked about that. But it just seems like that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is becoming way too inflated and way too oversaturated to the point where it is quite, a fatigue, regardless if it's bad or good. I just think that there's too much being thrown out there at once, and you're going to see a big build-up in 2025 and beyond because of all the delays next year. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.